This will be an overview of using the library's website in order to locate peer-reviewed journal articles. We're going to focus mostly on the Start Your Research search here on the home page. This is a search database that combines multiple databases, multiple journal metadata, publisher information. It searches the library catalog, so for physical items we have in the library. It also searches the institutional repository. It's kind of like a meta search for library resources. It can sometimes be a little overwhelming because sometimes you'll get hundreds of thousands of results, just like when you're searching Google. But hopefully after this session, you'll have a little bit better idea of how to limit your search ahead of time to get a more refined set of search results. Before I do that, I just want to point out a few things about the University Library's website for your information. So if you scroll down just a tad on the home page, you'll see a list of links at the top. The DIY research is a page that will kind of give you a little bit better understanding of the research process. It has a series of components that will kind of take you through the research process, and it links you to information about that. There's a link to the Ask a Librarian service that you can go and get research help or ask a question. There's also a link to the library calendar and hours, and a link to My Dashboard. The My Dashboard link takes you to a page of the most frequently used logins, so you can get to information about your library account if you have a hold or if you have a book that needs to be renewed. You can also get to your RefWorks or ebook accounts and things like that. So just know that that's there. Also on all the pages of the library website, you can click on this tab, and when the Ask a Librarian service is being staffed, you can just quickly ask a question from any homepage on the library's website. Below is also a link or information about all the different locations and the library hours. Currently, the Alkic Library is open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday during Summer 1, also Sunday 12 to 5 p.m. These are limited hours, and once we know more about Summer 2, then we'll know more about what the hours will be for Summer 2, since classes are expected to be face-to-face, or at least partially face-to-face. There's also information about remote services. Since most of us have been working remotely since spring break, there's a link to some of our resources and what we've made available for students who are working remotely. And then there's also information on the library's updates for the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, so what I want to do now is just kind of go into the Start Your Research search and show you how you can locate peer-reviewed journal articles using the advanced search. So I'm going to click on the advanced search. Normally, if you're off campus, you'll probably be prompted to log in using your NetID and password by clicking on the advanced search. So I've already logged in, that's why it didn't prompt me. The advanced search gives you more search fields. It has the and, or not function kind of built in, so you can change it right here before you start your search. You can also limit your search to peer-reviewed by checking the peer-reviewed filter here before you do your search. If you only wanted to see results from, the most recent 5 years or so, you could limit your dates here before you start your search. So if I want to only look at 2010 to 2020, I can do that by entering those dates in the box. If you really only wanted to see what was available full text, you could check this box. Sometimes you can check this before you do your search. If it's a pretty broad topic, you're still going to get a lot of results. But if this is a topic that's either new or there's not a lot of research, sometimes checking this full text will limit out or take away citations to articles that may not have the full article but might really be useful for your research. So if that's the case, just keep that in mind. If you're not getting very many results, it might be because you've checked the full text box. Sometimes you'll have a citation to an article, and I'll show you how you can do that as well. But you could type in the title of the article or paste it in here and do your search that way if you want. But you can typically just do that from the search on the home page too. You don't really have to go into the advanced to do that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is do a search on police body cameras. Sorry, I can't type. Okay, so, you know, a lot of this comes up with, you know, searches that you can try, you know, that's been popularly searched, but you can also sometimes find other terms that are being used. But I'm going to do just a search on police body cameras. If it's a phrase, sometimes you can put quotes around it, and that's going to find just those search terms as a phrase and not separate it out. But let's just go ahead and do police body cameras. I have the peer-reviewed box checked, so I'm going to just do a search here, and then we'll talk about the results. So because we checked the full text and the peer-reviewed, and we added quotations, quotation marks, we have 44 results. We also limited our dates, and so that's kind of the difference between, you know, doing just a broad search and kind of starting your search with these filters applied. You get a better, more finely refined search results, excuse me. And so then you can look at the results, and basically if you wanted to just click on the full article, you have links to the PDF full text for this. Sometimes you'll see a link that says HTML. It's just going to be the web version rather than a scanned PDF. So like this is the one I was mentioning. If you wanted to just kind of review the abstract, you can hover over this and it'll bring up just a short synopsis of the article. Most peer-reviewed articles will include an abstract, but it's also going to give you information like the subjects that were used for that particular article as well. By clicking on the link, you can see more about the article rather than just hovering over it. It gives you the subject terms that the database uses. So we searched the terms police body cameras, but you'll see that wearable video devices might be another term or a better term to use. These are also usually hyperlinked most of the time. If you click on this link, it will do a new search, and so it'll take away the filters that you've applied and it'll just do a new search on wearable video devices. And then there's often author supplied keywords as well. But then what you'll want to actually do is look at the PDF version of the article. This was written in the Applied Psychology and Criminal Justice Journal. But just a few things about the scanned version of the journal, and most peer-reviewed journal articles will have similar characteristics. So they'll have the title and the author information. They'll usually give you the author's credentials, where they're from. It'll start out, most peer-reviewed articles will start out having the abstract at the top, then the keywords supplied. Then as you go through, you'll also notice that it'll go into an introduction And then typically, as you scroll through, you will see a little bit of information about the methodology that the research used. So it'll talk about the current study and the methods that were applied for this particular research study, and it'll go through other good characteristics. So you're getting into the methods section, so it gets into more detail about the methods that were used for this study. These are all characteristics of a peer-reviewed article. If you scroll through, as you get to the towards the end, you'll find that they'll also include the results of their study. And just kind of keep scrolling through, and then you will also have a list of references at the end of the article. So I'm going to kind of go through this quickly. Typically, it'll include the discussion, but then at the end, you'll also see a list of references that were used or cited in the article themselves. And so I'm also mentioned to you that sometimes you'll have a citation and you need to find the article using the citation. So what I'm going to do is open up another tab real quickly and have the home page open. But I'm going to take one of these articles in this list of references and use the Start Your Research to find that article. And so I'm looking at this one, and this was written in Social Justice Research, and this is mostly going to work when these are journal article citations. For books, you'll want to refer to the library catalog. But for a journal article citation, some of the cues is that it will have the journal name, it'll usually have the volume and issue number, sometimes it'll have the volume and page numbers, but typically it has the volume and issue. And it's kind of put in, this particular format. This kind of looks like APA, except it's not exactly using the APA completely. But basically what I'm going to do, since this first one is an article that was written in Social Justice Research, I'm going to copy this title, and then I'm going to use the Start Your Research to try to find this article. I'm going to paste this in, and sometimes if you have colons in the title, it'll mess things up, but I'm going to go ahead and try this and make sure that's okay, spelled correctly. And then I'm just going to hit search. And so that's a way to take a citation to an article and find it using Start Your Research. And so there is this article. It's the same one written in Social Justice Research. And then there it does include the full text of the article as well. Okay, I'm going to pause for just a second. So now I want to show you a search where I'm not using any of the filters. So I'm going to take, I'm not going to check any of these just to show you the difference in the search. So I'm going to use police body cameras again. I'm not going to put quotes. I'm not limiting any of the filters, and I'm just going to hit search. I didn't limit the date. So as you can see, it went from 44 to 33,162. So a lot of times, you just go to the library homepage, you enter in your search terms, and you start out without, doing those filters. That's okay, because then once you've actually done a search like that and you have a lot of results, you can still apply the filters on the left-hand side. So I can go ahead and check the peer-reviewed. It takes a second to update. And then I'm going to check so it went down to 1,600, because what it did is it removed books, it removed videos, it removed like newspaper articles, it removed all of that, and it just left me with 1,600 results from a peer-reviewed journal. The dates are going back to 1976. The quotes, police body cameras, I'm not going to add those back because I'm seeing in this first set of results body-worn police cameras. And so, you know, it's kind of, I'm going to leave those in because those may actually be worth reviewing. So I'm just going to kind of go through again. I haven't limited to full text. So sometimes you'll see this full text link. Once in a while, you'll see something that says full text finder, and I'm going to just scroll down and see if there's something like that. We've done a little bit better job of linking to journals using our system, but sometimes we just may not have access to that particular journal. So in this example, it looks like we do have it, but here's an example of the full text finder link. And so you can, here's another one. I'm going to go ahead and choose this one since it doesn't have another option. So this one is written in ergonomics and design. It's talking about design consideration of police body-worn cameras. So, you know, and that's another example of not limiting it to criminal justice or sociology disciplines. It's bringing in, you know, other areas that you might not have thought of. But basically, I'm going to click on the full text finder link and see what my options are for finding this article. So it's telling me that if I launch the full text, it'll open up in a new window. So we'll see what happens here if it opens, because it's kind of giving me a weird message. Okay, so it did open up. So this is a feature. This is probably a peer-reviewed journal. It may or may not be original research. So you kind of have to, you know, skim through it to see if this is actually something that you might be able to use. But let me back up and show you these other options. So if for some reason you click on that full text and it does not open up the article, then you can choose this view more options. And so for this particular one, it's telling me that we can get to it from EBSCOhost. You can get to it from the publisher's website. It also has the libkey instant. Sometimes you'll see the results that say no full text options. You can request it through interlibrary loan, which is a way you can borrow from another library. It's a free service. And so, you know, once in a while, that would be your options. But if you ever get to you know, the end of the links and it says, you know, no full text found, you can also use the Ask a Librarian service and ask us for assistance in locating this journal article. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause again, and this may be one last thing I'd like to show you. When you are conducting criminal justice research, you can also go directly to the core research databases. So you can go, if you click on the databases button here from the library's homepage, you'll see that they're arranged by subjects. And so if you scroll down to the criminal justice subject, so this is kind of going in and you would be searching each database individually. And so you could go and search criminal justice abstracts from EBSCO. You could search criminal justice database from ProQuest individually. Anything you see that says from EBSCO is going to be included in the Start Your Research search. So just keep that in mind. But sometimes it's good to just go in and look at just the core criminal justice resources. So if I chose this one from ProQuest, which is most likely still indexed in Start Your Research, but I just want to show you that it may look a little bit different because it's a different vendor. So it'll have a different interface. But most databases still have advanced searching, and so it kind of has this and or not built in. You can limit to full text and peer reviewed. You can limit your dates. So if we did the same search, and this is searching anywhere. Anywhere. Okay, so we want to search this anywhere and then search. And I didn't limit the dates. I did want to limit the peer reviewed, but we'll check that in a second. Okay, so since I did not, it came up with 4,478 results. If I check the peer reviewed box and redo it, it's going to update it to 1,511. But you can see where the characteristics of the database are still similar. It gives you the information about the article. If you click on it, you've again got the abstract, you have the full text. You can also have this, if you play, sometimes they'll actually play the articles. And then if you click on the PDF full text as well, it's kind of the same look and feel as the other database. Both databases, or most all of our databases, will allow you to save your results. I want to quickly show you this, and this will end our session. So if you find some articles, you can add them to your folder by checking this plus sign. So these 3 articles I want to email to myself, or I can print them. I can also save them. But what I want to do is, now that I've saved these to my folder, I want to go to the folder view. And so here's where I would have the options to print, email, save, or export. What I'm going to do is email these to myself. The export would be if you have a RefWorks or EndNote account. Those are bibliographic management tools. You would export them using that option. But to email them, you just want to click on the email. You've got to select the 3 that are going to be emailed. You can choose, since APA is the default, but you can choose other formats as well, but this is the default one. And basically what it's going to do is you just enter your email address. You can add articles, and then you can hit send. And then it tells you, it just gives you a little confirmation. You can also, if you go back, if you have done a search, but you don't really have time to go through these 1,600 results, you can go in and you can use this permalink option and grab this little bit.ly, and you can copy that and you can just paste it anywhere. So you can paste it in an email to yourself, you can paste it on a Word document, something, but you want to grab that before you log off and just tell yourself that this is a search on police body cameras. And then that link will take you back to that search. So if you email them to yourselves, do whatever, however you want to do it. But then what you would do is just copy this into a web browser later on. But you want to do this before you logged off. And so then you could just paste that into a web browser, and it brings up that full search results, the 1,600 that you had found. You can do that individually as well by clicking on the link. You can get the permalink. You want to just look for something that says permanent link or permalink. So I think that is about all I can share with you, but please don't hesitate to contact me. My contact information is in the Canvas class site and also on the library guide. And good luck with your research. Thank you.